Hi guys, welcome to another classic movie review. Today we'll be taking you back to 1999 with Fight Club.
The movie stars Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and Helena Bonham Carter.
So we open up on an insomniac who's an office worker and living a very dull life, and meets a soap manufacturer, and his life gets turned around when they start an underground fight club that slowly expands over the country. It's an interesting film that follows different themes, and just as a disclaimer for this particular review, if you haven't seen the film, we are going to be talking about major spoilers for it throughout the review. So just as a heads up, if you don't want to have the film spoiled, we recommend watching it first before this review. And otherwise, we're just going to jump straight into it. So I'm going to get into it first, guys.
Go for it.
So I really like this film. It's got good messaging. It's a David Fincher film, so you know it's going to be a quality picture. Edward Norton and Brad Pitt really steal the show. I mean, you've got other actors in it, like Meatloaf and Jared Leto, but I really think it's mainly them two. Even Helena Bonham Carter, she's in it in some part of the film as a kind of device to move it along, but it's really them two, Brad Pitt and Edward Norton, that move it along. The violence is really good, really clever cinema techniques, I think, with the fight scenes themselves, and the way I think we'll get out of the way early just so we don't have to explain it too much, but Brad Pitt is playing a character called Tyler Durden, and throughout the film, the unnamed office worker is hanging out and trying to work for, I guess, this Tyler Durden, and then it's found out near the last, I guess, third of the film or quarter of the film that, in fact, Edward Norton's character is Tyler Durden, and it's kind of a split personality that he's got. So it makes a really interesting end of the film, but it's a different way to view that kind of mental thing. So I really enjoyed that aspect. It's kind of like The Sixth Sense, you know, you don't know the spoiler unless you watch the film, and it gives it a good rewatchability because you can go back and look. There's a scene in particular where Brad Pitt's character is a projectionist, and they explain about the cigarette marks and the splicing in single scenes from films. Yeah. So if you go back and watch the actual film again, you'll see there's like snippets of Brad Pitt's character throughout the film. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Other than that, I really enjoyed the story about masculinity, I guess. It gives it a different flavour now that we've had this whole Me Too agenda come through about the, you know, patriarchy, matriarchy, whatever you want to call it, Barbie. It's quite interesting. Meatloaf plays a interesting, funny character, I guess. You know, did a really good job at the AFL Grand Final. He did a really good job at this. Other than that, I really can't fault the film. Good soundtrack, good story, and yeah.
Cameron, wanna go?
Alright, so I have partially watched this film before, but I did it a disservice.
You did.
I did watch this on an airplane, and I did fall asleep. But now, actually watching it fully immersed in the cinema, I can honestly say this is another one that has always been hyped and say how great of a film it is, and how it doesn't disappoint, and everyone knows about the twist, but that's it, the twist. And because I knew about the twist because I watched it partially, even watching it again, it gives you another perspective of the whole movie. You watch it and this has so much rewatchability, because every time you watch it, you might get something else, and that will twist your perception of how you view the film. And for me, the second time, or first time fully, it really just, knowing that it's him, it just makes me go wow even more so. Because the way they've written the film, it's just wow. Like, honestly, like everything that he does, they make it seem so seamless that it is two people. But then it doesn't. After knowing it is him, it still makes sense that it can't, like, even when he's in the house, especially.
Yeah.
Like, they give, like, hints, but you, obviously, watching it for the first time, you don't think about it. But then for the second time, you're like, oh, that makes total sense why she can't see him. And they make it very, very notable that she can't see him because he doesn't exist. And that was really, really well done. But yeah, I love this movie. The fight scenes were really good, really graphic, hard-hitting. And in the cinema, my God, it was so loud. You felt like you were in the cellar. I don't know if you guys felt the same. But I don't know, like, watching it at home, you don't get that sort of impact of how loud all those screaming men are. when they're hitting each other and
Oh,
testosterone's going and you freaking, you know, it really came through. So yeah, I love this movie. So, Moon, your thoughts?
All right. So the twist is actually revealed in the very first scene of the movie. Like I've watched it so many times. So the first scene is like he says, Tyler knows the plan. No, I know the plan because Tyler knows the plan. So basically, it's already out there, but the movie is crafted so beautifully that you can't figure out the twist for the first time. And I watched it I was a teenager, and I watched it from a very different lens. I thought like the fights are good at that time and the twist is great, but much older now and now viewed from a very different lens. This movie is timeless for me.
Yeah.
It talks a lot about consumers, about what products at that time they showed like bunch of consumers are attracted to IKEA stuff, still the same. And now social media is such a big thing. And I think if you just replace those elements, like you include social media and stuff, and this movie fits again with all those things. Like it has an aspect of nihilism too. How the narrator is listed as narrator, how he sees himself and how he sees the entirety of the world. I mean, he's going to these testicular cancer programs so like his life is gone completely, and so he manifests this Tyler Durden character. And can I just say, Tyler Durden is like the bestest name ever. It is so good, and so is Project Mayhem. The names are really really good. Yeah. So, and like John said, Fincher, he can never go wrong. This was his first movie I watched, and from that point I knew he is what everyone says. And I don't think there's any other movie which has better narration than this. The whole movie is basically being narrated to us. I've seen many movies when they start the narration at the beginning and they will probably bring it back at the end or something. This movie is in entirety is just narration, and somehow you just still don't know. Even I watched it after so many times. I was like, is he like, are they both same person? It is so good. The twist is so well done. Yep. Yeah, that's about for me. And yes, the soundtrack is really good.
Yeah, I liked, one of my favorite scenes from this film is partway through, they have an assignment to get into a fight with somebody random off the street. And it's a good montage, especially when the guys with the spray hose trying to fight the priest. That one's really funny. But I like the scene where Edward Norton goes into his boss's office and bashes himself up. That's a really good scene. He like has the fight against himself, and then when the security come, it looks like the bosses, beating him up. That's really clever. Something that wasn't expected at the start of that. I was expecting for him to antagonize his boss and there to be an actual fight. I didn't expect it to be so, and it was serving to the film's plot as well, which was good.
Yeah.
I mean, like Moon said with the narration, really good. Like, it's very hard to pick, when you think back on the film, it's hard to pick when it was narrated and when it was just talking, because it flows on so well. Yeah, the consumerism, like, I think for this film, nearly every scene there was a Starbucks cup in it.
Yes, yes, true, it is. Yeah, there is.
But even like if you go back and you think about the film, you can hear like certain things, like Helena Bonham Carter comes downstairs and Edward Norton's character doesn't expect it, and she said, "Oh, you were really good last night," but it was like that split second, like, huh? Like, mate, because we know that it's Tyler, it's not him, so you just brush it off. Or like, you hear they're having intercourse upstairs and he gets a phone call from the detective, but as soon as he answers the phone, what would normally just continue over him trying to talk on the phone immediately stops, because obviously he can't be speaking on the phone and having intercourse at the same time. So it's a clever way of writing it. But yeah, film holds up. I don't think it will, even because there's not really a lot of technology shown in the film. So it's one of those things where it's not like The Matrix where it looks dated, even though it's a really good film, it starts to look dated.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's something that I think like in 50 years people will still watch and the message will still carry throughout. So
yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And I love the shots. They use a bit of CGI. I think they're like, even the opening is I think you're coming out of an explosive bomb, and also when they're explaining how his condo was bombed and they have to like go inside the wires and stuff, and even that doesn't look dated at all. Somehow it still holds up.
When they come out the trash can.
They come
with
out
all
the trash can, yeah,
consumer
yeah.
products.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
that too, yeah. It's pretty good.
Jumps over the fence.
Yeah, it's like that kind of CSI Miami
Yeah.
CGI.
So while watching just today, and I never felt this before. So this movie has so much balance between Taxi Driver, Joker, and this. I felt they have a person who's going a bit insane. Society is driving him insane, and somehow he's trying to make something big out of it. Joker, same.
Yeah.
And Taxi Driver had the same plot as well, but this is, you don't see it coming, but at the end, I just thought today, like, I felt they follow the same path. Yeah.
Well, interesting you say that. David Fincher said that part of the inspiration, not inspiration for the film, but for the character himself, was there's a film with Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis called The King of Comedy,
Oh yeah.
which is similar to the Joker film,
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. So if you know the Joker, you'll know the story of The King of Comedy, basically. It's the same kind of principle where you see him slowly decline from what you perceive as sanity to what seems to be a very insane person. But as well, you're going on the journey with him where you see what he thinks is reality and what is reality. So he did mention that in one of the
Oh, okay.
interviews I
That's
saw
good.
for this film. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, we're going to give our scores, guys.
Yep.
How many soap bars out of 10, Moon?
This is the favorite movie of all time, so definitely 10 soap bars out of 10.
John?
I haven't had to collect near enough fat to give my score. So, yeah, I'm going to give it 9 soap bars out of 10.
Yeah, I'm with John on this one. Solid 9 soap bars out of 10. Alright, guys, if you like this video, make sure to click the like button, share the video, tell your friends, tell your family, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.